of course, the answer is yes, but it's variable, right?
Okay.
It doesn't happen every time, but it can, obviously, and it can make a big impact. So we're going to address this. Sorry to get off track here. We're going to address this a little bit like we want to look at data. We want to look at science to answer this question, right? So, and I'm not at all against science, but I'm going to just say that the means in which technology is improving and the adoption rate with anglers is happening is massively outpacing any regulatory processes that can happen. The way we collect data, the way we analyze data, the way we implement what we learn from that data. So like a good example in Minnesota, I've got a buddy who's on this bluegill committee, right?
Uh-oh.
So for like 10 years, they're even longer. They've been saying that like, hey, we're losing the big bluegills in Minnesota. This is far before forward-facing sonar, even side imaging, right? Just the big bluegills are disappearing. They're being harvested. We want to protect the big bluegills. We want to, have a quality bluegill fishery in this state. So they talk about it for 10 years. Clearly, the best solution is to not harvest the big bluegills, just keep the big ones in the system, keeps recruitment low, all these great benefits to it. So,
which is complicated because you're introducing the idea of a bluegill slot limit.
Okay, right. Yes, exactly.
Like
so let me get to why
yeah,
this is so complicated. So this is clearly that's the answer. So they talk about it for years. Eventually, they come up with the idea that what we're going to do? We're going to take some lakes and we're just going to keep less. Well, that's not the answer. The answer is don't keep the big ones, right? Mm-hmm. So now, in 5 years, they're going to take 10 years to assess that to see what the impact was on a reduced bag. And now they're talking about once that's up, we're going to look at doing like a 9-inch, maximum size harvest. So this is going to be like a 25-year process to use this science to identify, like look back 25 years where we're at. So I'm not saying that science isn't wrong and we shouldn't look at it, we shouldn't use it. I'm just saying we also need to look at how this is a social science issue as well, that like there's just some places or people who don't maybe want this type of technology or as much advanced technology coming into certain areas of the sport. So it's not a you can't have live scope, no more live scope for anybody, or you can have it. But like we've got a lot of opportunities to experiment with different resources, where we could use it, when we could use it, special regulate. We've got all these opportunities that I think we really need to be looking at more, starting with the social component, saying, okay, we know we've got groups of anglers. Let's listen to anglers. Let's try to manage for what the user's expectations are and want as we work on the science in the background.